Ciao guys, Mike and I are home from our most recent trip to Italy. While there, we got to sit down with our very good friend and neighbor, Matteo, and we're bringing you some real Italian life. He gets to share with all of us how his passion and love for wine turned into an amazing business. At the end of the video, I'll leave the links for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please be sure to show him some love. We really enjoyed sitting down with him. He's one of our great friends, and it was a lot of fun just chowing and chatting. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and there's a lot more coming. So take care. Have a great day. Ciao. Ciao, guys.
Ciao, everybody.
We do our chin chin. Chin chin. Mike's got his coffee. Mateo's got my Moscato that I didn't drink.
What did you say? It was fortified?
Yeah, this is definitely fortified with either sherry or it tastes like brandy though.
Yeah.
It smells like brandy.
Yeah. So at home, Carrie loves Moscato, but we bought that, and it was not what she thought it was going to be.
No, down in Puglia.
No.
I was like excited, and then no.
Yeah, you wound up with a dessert wine, but see, here's the catch: the bottle's little.
Yeah.
So when you see a little bottle that size, you know you got something a little different. Plus, Moscato's Moscato's a lot lighter than that.
Yeah.
Moscato's,
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was from the region or something.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's not bad.
Not
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So speaking about wine,
Yeah.
We're here with our neighbor, our friend, and our fellow American,
yep.
Matteo. So we wanted to share your business with everybody. So maybe you can just kind of talk about how you got to Italy, give a little recap and then share the business.
Okay. Organized thoughts. Hi, everyone. Well, my grandfather was a winemaker. And that was my introduction to it. But by the time I was little, he stopped doing it. Yeah. But there was always his old wine press and all of his old stuff sitting in the front basement. So it always had this allure, I guess.
And you looked at it all the time.
And every time I went down there, I always looked at it.
Yeah.
And then eventually the curiosity built up, and I said to myself, I gotta make wine.
Yeah.
And I started to do it. Once I started, I developed a real fascination for the academic part of it.
Yeah.
And I quickly saw that I might have a proclivity for it. What happened was one of my closest friends of, at the time of, 18 years, happened to own a home beer and wine making supply e-commerce business called Label Peelers.
Okay.
And he and his partner Matt, who said, they tasted my wine and they said, we need to do something together.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's how Finer Wine Kits was born. It was a ton of work to develop the product. Because we wanted to do something different. Up until Finer Wine Kits hit the market, wine kits followed a very predictable paradigm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you bought a wine kit, it was shelf stable, it was pasteurized juiced. If it was a high alcohol wine, it might come with skins, and those skins were usually very goopy, kind of tarry looking because they were really broken down.
Yeah.
And they all had this thing I dubbed the kit taste, which is that pasteurized flavor.
Right.
And I think you can make the distinction where you drink fresh squeezed orange juice and then you drink pasteurized orange juice, and there's that taste. But there's that taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I tried kits. Because I said to myself, I had a pretty big operation when I was living in America. I was making enough wine to last me a whole year.
Wow.
But I thought to myself, if I don't have this space, if I don't have all of this, room and time, what's going to happen when I'm older?
Yeah.
And like when I can't necessarily do it at this scale anymore. So I tried experimenting with kits, and I was really bummed out by what the results were. So, you know, I obviously I stuck with fresh grape winemaking, but then this proposal came up, and I said, listen, if we're going to do something, I want to do something where I want to make a wine kit that doesn't taste like a wine kit. So that was when we started exploring raw concentrates that were not shelf stable pasteurized. We invested in refrigeration, cold shipping, and we were able to procure a supply of real grape skins. Grape skins that had gone through a centrifuge, that they weren't dry by any means, but they were semi-dried, but they were able to impart the phenolic compounds. And we developed the product around using these ingredients. I incorporated techniques of mine like yeast starters, which other wine kits didn't use. And we created the Wine Geeks wine kit. And our kits last year, we won a number of top awards in the Winemaker magazine national competition. I believe our Sangiovese, it was 3 categories: Infidel, and it was one other red, but by memory strained, that won Best in Show. And in the top 20 entries, we had like 5 of them or something. I don't remember the number, but we were up there in these. Great. And, you know, we have a lot of loyal customers, and we've created a good product. And, you know, and if you look on the internet, we have on the web, we have a good presence, but you'll notice that our products are available through one retailer, Label Peelers. And there's a reason for that, because if you're going to provide a cold shipped product that has expensive ingredients, it needs to be a business to consumer model, because there's just not enough profit in it. To, you know, every product has a price ceiling. So, you know, to be able to provide ingredients at this level of quality with all of the other things we include, it's the way we can stay competitive. But we know we've had a great couple of years. We've just introduced 2 new lines. We have everything from the Novello series, which is a low calorie, lower alcohol, easy drinking wine. We have the Prodigy series. Oh, they're actually not series, they're lines. The Prodigy line. I get very, very touchy about verbiage. The Prodigy line is a premium non-skins wine kit, like a medium to full body wine kit. The Artisan line is a similar ABV, but it comes with seeds and 2 pounds of grape skins. And then our flagship line is the Forte line, which is 14% alcohol by volume, 4 pounds of skins, 8 ounces of seeds.
Now we're talking.
It's really a big bodied wine. But we have now a nice wide breadth of kits to offer people.
So there's a great selection.
Now the things are really filled out. And we are close to being available on Amazon and on Walmart and on other major retailers. Fantastic. So that's happening. But, you know, our mission was very, very simple. We wanted to create a wine kit worthy of winemakers who have good taste. You know, that's what we wanted to do. And we tried to reinvent the wheel, and to a certain degree we did. We did.
So can you talk about, because Mike loves his wine, but I don't know if he knows anything about making wine.
No, I don't. And I've actually had the pleasure, we're talking about the wine kits right now, but I've actually had the pleasure of tasting your actual wine that you made here over in Italy. So, like, I love red wine. I'm a Cabernet lover. And then Matt he introduced me to their bottle of wine that they actually made, the red that they made over here, and it was flipping fantastic.
Thank you.
It was really, really good.
Yeah, you really liked it.
We got lucky with
really
that
good.
batch. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And the grapes, I think it was mostly Sangiovese. My guess was that it had probably Zinfandel, which is called Primitivo here. The Zinfandel has a very, very particular taste, and I love it in blends. I don't particularly love it by itself, but I can taste that little something. But there, even that blend was about 15% white grapes. So we got what we got, and we made something, and
Right.
it actually came out spectacular.
Yeah, it was really good.
That's what I wanted. So the grapes, they're local
They're all
to
local.
this area, this region?
Oh, we got them 10 minutes away in
Oh, wow.
in Corazzano, which is the valley near Castelnuovo di Farfa, where my mother-in-law lives.
Yeah.
And they were on a trellis, and somebody asked us if we wanted them, and we got them, and that's what we did.
Absolutely we do. Absolutely we
So
do.
completely local.
Oh, yeah.
So you would call it like the Sabina region? Or the
Yeah, this is all Sabina. This whole region is Sabina. And Sabina it's really known for olive oil, but I'm exploring some possibilities because I think the land here is some of it is very well suited for grape cultivation, and I don't think there's nearly enough of it. So one of the projects I'm interested in, and I have some meetings set up with some people who might be able to help. I would really like to be responsible for helping to push more commercial wine production in this region.
Yeah.
Because if I was able to produce what you tasted from grapes that weren't even intended
on a larger scale,
I think we have something spectacular.
Yeah.
Because right now people would think, to get your wine, you have to go to Tuscany right? Like for someone like me that knows nothing about wine, I would be like, well, do you get it in Tuscany? But you can get it local. Like that's what you're trying to bring.
Well, I'd like to establish a wine identity for this region.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's very possible if it's done properly.
Right.
The one thing I think that might make me a little different than other winemakers here, more traditional winemakers, is that I'm trained in modern techniques. So, we call it vino del contadino, which is like farmer wine.
Yeah.
And I understand, additions of acidity adjustments, and I know how to use commercial yeasts. I know about yeast nutrient. I know modern techniques, and you'd be surprised, but fewer people probably know about these. I'm talking in the general population than you would think.
Right.
So,
because quite frankly, they've been making wine over here for a really long time, and it's good. So why change how you do it? Because it's so good.
Yeah. But, people, winemakers in Tuscany, Tuscany's had a flourishing commercial wine industry for centuries, and because it's such a huge part of their economy, they modernized,
right?
Because you had wines like Chianti and Brunello di Montalcino, which really became a thing in the 20th century. It might have its origins in the 19th century, but these are wines that are world renowned.
Yeah.
And winemakers who are making those, they're up on modern techniques because it's a much more sure bet when you're working with modern techniques. It's less of a roll of the dice. There's a lot that can go wrong with spontaneous fermentation. And we're at the point now, I would say the majority of winemakers don't do that anymore. Because it's just risky. You can lose a whole batch. So the modern techniques make a huge difference.
So talk to someone like me, again, Mike enjoys his wine. I know nothing about
But I don't know the process.
So if, say, we were to purchase the wine kit, kind of walk us through someone who's like a novice. We know nothing about it. So it's good for people of all levels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wine kits are designed for, people who don't know how to make wine.
Yeah.
When you get a kit, you need your first wine kit and you need an equipment kit.
Okay.
They're not sold together. They're not even branded by the same companies, but you need at least an equipment kit.
And your company offers?
We offer the wine. We manufacture the wine kits, but Label Peelers sells equipment kits. It's labelpeelers.com.
Okay.
All one word.
We'll include all that. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all those links.
But when you open the box, there's instructions in there, and when you read our instructions, and you get a contents list of what's in the kit. Then you get all of the step-by-step instructions, but then at the end there is an 18-section addendum where we refer you to the instructions. Okay, tips for racking, which is the word for transferring your wine. But the kit's designed for you to basically follow a recipe.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how it works. And even steps where we will tell you to do very specific things. And I think kits are a wonderful way for people to get introduced to winemaking. I actually think it's the best way to get introduced to winemaking. If you're not from the old school, like me or Matt, where, it's a family tradition.
Yeah.
But in some cases I had to unlearn some things, but, but when you follow a kit teaches you the most important thing about winemaking, which is process and procedure, and learning discipline, sanitation techniques. Sanitation is so intrinsically important to winemaking that alone can make or break a batch.
Yeah.
And we explain all of this.
Yeah.
And how to sanitize your gear, and how long to let your wine age, and how long it needs for the particles to clear out, and how long it takes to bottle. But kits teach you that.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of winemakers who are perfectly happy staying with kits.
Yeah.
There's always a portion of people who are just mad scientists, creative people who are like, all right, I want to play. and you start getting but the jump to fresh grapes is a big jump, because when you get the kit, you'll get packets in there that will adjust the acidity of the wine to exactly where it needs to be.
Right.
When you're working with fresh grapes, you have to learn how to test, you have to learn how to adjust acidity, you have to account for a whole number of things that you don't have to account for with a kit.
Right.
You need a press. You need, it's a big equipment investment. And if you don't have the space and you only have your kitchen,
Right.
a kit is the ideal thing to use. So
now, on a standard kit, right? How much wine will an actual
6 gallons?
6 gallons. That's a good amount.
It's 28 to 30 bottles is your
Wow,
standard amount.
That's a lot.
What is that big jug that we got at?
Oh.
The Cronad jug that you can fill it.
Oh, it's way in the back.
A couple liters.
Well, let's see. 6 gallons, doing the math in my head, is about 20 liters.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's about 20, a little less than 24 liters.
Oh,
That's a lot of wine.
Yeah.
You'll get, that's a 3-liter bottle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, now that I've lived in Italy for almost 4 years, I can eyeball
yeah.
liter sizes and meters.
This is a lot. I mean,
Yeah, and you'll get
if that's 3 liters, you'll get 8 or 9 of those.
wow, that's a lot.
A 6-gallon carboy is about this tall and about this wide. Wow. Yeah. So when you do the math and when you get really good at this, you can make 30 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
And if you're buying a top shelf Forte kit, which are our most expensive kits, 30 bottles of wine for $160 is not a bad deal.
No.
Right.
And a lot of people make wine for financial reasons, but I think it's more
Like the passion.
it's a passion and craft thing.
The social,
There's a huge social element to
Yeah.
winemaking. It's something people do together,
Yeah.
and that is. I have a cousin who I didn't know about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I had made friends with the owner of Corrado's in Clifton, New Jersey. And Joe had asked me to come be a judge at their wine competition. So I get sat down at the table, and at a table just like this, and then I'm chatting with some people there, and there's a guy sitting right across from me, and we're talking about Italy, stuff strangers talk about, and I asked him, I said, "Where is your family from?" And he answers me, "San Pietro al Tanagro," and I went, "Excuse me." I'm like, that's like a little town with like 5 people in it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where my family's from.
Get out.
Give me some family names. And he throws them out. And sure enough, his grandmother and my grandfather were brother and sister.
out.
Wow.
And this is in Jersey?
This is in Jersey.
Oh,
We're
wow.
second cousins. We didn't know it.
See, that's
Wow.
awesome.
And we're both winemakers.
Awesome.
And you both landed in New Jersey.
Yeah. And we've become very close friends.
Nice.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And every year when I was still there, him and all of his buddies would make their batch, and eventually they called me in because they're like, "No, Matteo knows what he's doing," So I would kind of do my little thing there, and they finally adopted my yeast starter techniques and other things. But we would always have fun together, on a racking day or a pressing day. I'd go over to his house, and a whole bunch of us would be hanging out in the driveway, drinking wine, eating food, and having a good time, and just having good and just smoking cigars, and it was like good family time.
Nice.
And
That's
family
awesome.
friends.
And that's like the social part.
And this is
Family.
and you need friends when you do this, because you want, some of this stuff requires a little bit of elbow grease, and it's just something that's very fun to do with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how friends get introduced to the hobby, and then you start doing it, they start doing it, and then you start doing batches together, and there's this whole organic social thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it's a very addictive habit in that respect,
Yeah.
because it's like treating something with love.
Yeah.
You know, and I always daydream about what
Well,
it
it's
was.
a craft. It becomes a craft.
It's a craft,
Yeah.
but I love to daydream about the past. I mean, I live here in our little town here,
Right.
and you know the buildings are 800 years old,
Yeah.
and I imagine the psychology of the people who used to walk the streets here.
Right.
And I love ancient Roman history, and I imagine, you know, people in those days when they were making wine, how they would probably perform rituals to say,
Yeah.
okay,
Sure.
we have to do this, or this won't happen.
Right.
They didn't have any idea of what the chemical processes were,
Right.
because that's what we know from
Right.
from the
We know that now. Yeah.
but they didn't. And there's this mystical thing that happens when it starts to bubble and it starts to change,
Yeah.
and you take grapes and you do this stuff, and all of a sudden this beautiful thing comes out on the
Yeah.
other side,
Mm.
and it's a kind of a magical experience.
And then you get to enjoy it.
And then you get to enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Right.
You know, there's definitely a family cultural artisan alchemy to
Yeah.
how all this works.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of viewers that are from America,
Mhm.
like us. This would be a good way for people in America that love wine, especially Italian wine, but can't be here all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it would get the product into their home. You know?
Well, you know, Italian wine, we don't source internationally yet,
Okay.
because we use raw concentrates.
Yeah.
Okay.
And shipping them is a problem, but we get creative.
Yeah.
Instead of because listen, if you're going to pasteurize juice, any of the subtleties that it had are long gone.
Yeah.
So what we do instead is we approach our blends creatively.
Hmm.
Like if I want to make a wine taste like a Northern Rhone,
Sure.
I'm going to use what I have, and I'm going to find a way to put them together that's going to give you the flavor profile and body of a Northern Rhone. It doesn't really matter what it's made of.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how we approach this, because I have the basement home winemaker mentality and background. So that's what I
Yeah.
bring to the table.
Right.
So, you know, when you're working, when you have all these different tools available to you, you can really get a lot of amazing results, and it doesn't really matter where the juice comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
The grapes in our wine kits?
Yeah.
No, California.
Oh,
It's
California.
all California.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's a big complication with they need to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
It's involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we as we grow, we're considering looking into that.
Yeah.
But as of right now, we've chosen a different path. And
Yeah.
you know, instead of saying, hey, you know, Italian juice that's
Right.
been cooked and you know
Sure.
put it in,
Right.
we're going to give you a wine kit that tastes like we have a wine kit called the Hannibal Red Blend.
Oh.
Well, we got a letter because saying we couldn't use the word Chianti.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I said, okay, how can I let people know this is a Chianti without saying it's a Chianti? So we came up with the Hannibal Red Blend. But the Hannibal Red Blend is
It's
one.
actually
It
catchy.
is. It's one of our most popular kits, and 80% of it is Sangiovese, which is the same base as a Chianti. But we don't have Cariolo and other traditional blenders, so we chose to fuse Merlot and Petit Syrah. Petit Syrah gives you the bottom and the color. Merlot gives you the herbaceous and floral elements,
Okay.
and we re-engineered a Chianti using those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you guys are great at,
Yeah.
kind of bringing blends together.
Oh yeah, we're really
to make a certain flavor.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. We're really blend conscious.
Yeah.
And most people don't know this. Like when you buy wine in the United States, if you buy something called a Cabernet Sauvignon, as long as 75% of that is Cabernet Sauvignon,
Yeah.
they don't have to call it anything but Cabernet Sauvignon.
Right. Regardless of where the 25%
There's a
comes from.
25% rule.
Okay.
And that 25% rule gives you a lot of interesting flexibility, because in that other 25%, I can make a Cabernet Sauvignon taste like a French one, taste like an Australian one, taste like a South African one, just by the blender.
Yeah.
Just by the blender.
Wow.
You know, and we talked about this. If you buy a Cab Sauv, a really heavy-bodied Cab Sauv that's really dark, it absolutely has Cabernet Franc in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cabernet Franc is the darkest, deepest colored wine I've ever seen, but it lacks the dynamics of a Cabernet Sauvignon, which is often why they're put together.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that last night when we were because you were saying the French Cabernet is really, really good.
Mhm.
I would never think red for France. I would think white and champagne.
Sure.
Would never think that you can get a really good red wine from France.
Go shopping and go play in the Bordeaux section.
Yeah.
They're really something. Like I said,
Yeah.
Bordeaux's are always a surprise.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but they're always a surprise. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and it's an interesting thing to be managing my life from all the way over here because, we live in this world that's totally digitally connected, but, I have partners there and everything I need to do, I travel back and forth, obviously. But I'm able to actually focus on my business more being here.
Yeah.
Because
and it probably inspires you too.
It does. It does. And I wake up and I make coffee and I wander into my office and I go to work and that's what I do. And, but I was lucky, I got to build this company and be home with my son every day before he goes to school and before he started school. So I had a really fortunate, unique experience of being able to be with my son during his early years, which a lot of dads don't get. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's important for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I wanted to add our neighbor, Giovanni, that we're good friends with.
Yeah.
We've heard him say the wine is really good.
Yeah.
Like Giovanni's from Rome.
Yeah.
So he speaks so highly of it.
Yeah.
So,
He's been drinking wine that's been locally made here for a long time by other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And since you've come here now, you've made some wine with him as well, some whites. He makes the whites as well. So I'm sure it's a little bit of different process.
It's very different
than what the locals do. But again, it's it's just really, really good wine.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
It's very, very gratifying. There's nothing more validating and more exhilarating than watching your friends grab the bottle for the second glass.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
and the third,
and when you walk and then you leave and the bottle's empty, because there's a funny thing that happens, and you'll probably relate to this if you know people who make wine. Somebody walks into a party or a and said, "Hey, I brought my homemade wine."
Yeah.
You're smiling here, and what you see in their eyes is, "Oh God,"
right?
Because sometimes it's. I've had some homemade wines. I mean, I've smelled wines in competition that smelled like simple green cleaner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even taste them.
Yeah.
And when you introduce that and then somebody tastes it, they're like, "Oh my God, this is wine." But part of my MO is that I reject the concept of homemade wine. I think it's a false equivalency. It's wine or it isn't.
Yeah.
So there's no reason in the world why anyone, including you or anyone watching this, cannot buy a finer wine kit and make wine at home and make it taste exactly like the commercial wines they're buying.
Yeah.
Because we use winery grade commercial concentrates. Okay. So I guarantee you, once you make one of our kits, you will be drinking wine that was made from the same concentrates that are in your kits.
Yeah.
A lot of wineries use concentrates, not fresh grapes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier making wine from fresh grapes, or they'll buy the concentrate and they'll use that with their fresh grapes.
Yeah, like a substitute. Yeah.
Or an extender.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And one of the things the concentrate helps them do is it helps them utilize space better, because when everything is business, you have to calculate, building usage and storage.
Overhead.
Yeah, overhead. And the really expensive wines, those are harvested. They're made into wine. They're cellared for a year, and then they're sold for a lot of money because they've been taking up that space for the whole year.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
The ones that are in the lower to middle price ranges, they've been made, they get bottled, they get shipped out, and then they make another batch.
Yeah.
And then that process happens all over again. It's a little more industrial.
Yeah.
So, but that's something a lot of people don't know, but that's what happens.
Yeah. No, thanks for explaining that.
Yeah. That's what happens.
So like you said, pretty soon you guys will have the product on Amazon and Walmart.
Yeah. We will.
But until then,
labelpeelers.com.
Labelpeelers.com.
And finer wines.
Finer wine kits.
Finer wine kits.
Yes.
Yep.
And you guys just went through some new packaging, right?
I rebranded the whole. I rebranded the entire product line.
Yeah.
So
and you're really pleased with it.
I'm very pleased with how it came out.
Yeah.
It's it's funny, and you know this from being in business. Nothing's ever finished.
Yeah.
And when we came up with the original concept of this product, Adam and I sat down and said, okay, now that we think we're done, let's pretend we're a competitor and let's come up with a better idea.
Yeah.
That idea became the business plan. Because, so you look at things and you're always looking for, well, all right, now I got us to here. Now how can I get us to here and
Yep.
to
Right.
here? And it's just this, it's like moving a piece
Because
of
if
furniture.
you're not,
across-
somebody else is.
Yeah, if you're not going to
Yeah.
do it, somebody else is.
Yeah.
So, but we're very pleased with how well our products have been received. We're so grateful for the loyalty and support of our customers,
Yeah.
and I couldn't be happier with how things are going. I feel very fortunate.
Cool.
Yeah, and I feel like living here, you live here in Poggio Nativo, and
Mhm.
getting to drink the local wines and the wines in Italy, I would think it helps inspire you to make yours the best it can be, to be competitive,
Yes, I think it reinforced that,
Yeah.
but living here has really brought me a lot closer to the basics of
Yeah.
living. I'm so surrounded by history all day long,
You are a big history.
I'm a big history nerd, and,
Yeah.
and I always do my data dumps all the time. That's but but I'm also a very empathetic person, and I've wandered around these neighborhoods, imagining what it was like for people who needed to bring water to their homes
Yeah.
when there was no faucets, and
Yeah.
like I have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
And I think about people who maybe succumbed to the bubonic plague in the neighborhood because
Right.
this was an active town. The castle behind us, it started in the 10th century
Yeah.
or the 11th century.
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
we're talking about 1,000 years of
Yeah.
history. And that kind of thing really centers you. And it's interesting because I am Italian, I am American, I am both, and I have different relationships with both of my nationalities
Yeah.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
And
How can you not, though?
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? We as Italian Americans, one thing that I think distinguishes us from Italians is Italians. I heard somebody say this the other day, and it was really, really smart. That Italians tend to have regional identities. Italian Americans, we have an ethnic identity.
Yeah.
We do, and we needed to, because and we're also children of the unification,
Right.
because our grandparents came over here at the beginning of that period. So we have a very strong sense of our Italianness
Yeah.
in that respect,
Mhm.
and we felt the need to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, who was born here, who I grew up with and lived with until I was 15, was very, very, very intent on instilling my Italian heritage into me.
Yeah.
Well, I think that shows with us. You're always talking about a new recipe and
Yeah.
an old Roman
Mhm.
recipe, and
Yes.
you're perfecting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like Giovanni jokes. He's like, it's funny to me that an Italian American makes the best amatriciana I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, and this, like my injury, I was cutting an onion, and luckily my nail was a little on the longer side, and I would have cut my thumb off if I hadn't. But a chef who doesn't injure himself isn't a real chef.
Right,
Correct.
exactly.
But getting into, and I got into things like fermenting my own sauerkraut,
Yeah.
and
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that the process of making wine, that fermentation process,
Yeah.
that's not just for wine. That could be used for so many other
fermented
things.
foods are so good for you. So learning things like that, and learning how to make your own mozzarella
Yeah.
or your own ricotta.
Mm.
There's your own yogurt. There's so many of your own things that you can make, and learning home remedies. Like if I have a cold, I boil a red onion,
Yeah.
and when the boil's over, I throw in some ginger, some rosemary, some thyme, some cinnamon, and a little bit of honey, and you drink that.
Mm.
Guess
Drink
what?
it.
Your sinuses dry up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it living so close to the land, and how we do live here, because especially here in Sabina's rugged.
Yeah.
It's rugged. This is farm country
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We've seen
And we know that just to walk up to the car.
Of course you do. I mean, you see how we live here, and I think it would be an interesting. I mean, you guys have gotten a taste of it because you've been here for short spurts, but living here the whole year round
Oh yeah.
would be a very alien experience
Yeah.
for a lot of
Oh,
Americans.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else. There's positives and negatives to
Right.
everything. Everything's a mixed bag. I don't believe in perfect. I'm
Right.
not looking for perfect.
Mm.
I'm
Right.
just looking for what I like and what I can live with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to share it.
And to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel very fortunate. I
Yeah.
feel grateful, and I'm so happy that we were neighbors and that we
I
got to
know.
meet.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds?
I
you
know. What are the odds? Like we share a little common area with another American.
In an old village.
There's a lot of awesome information.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any questions, leave them in the comments, and if we have to, get with you to answer them,
sure.
because certainly I don't know anything about
And
the
obviously we will leave all the links
Yeah.
down in the description below, so
Yeah,
you guys
the
can
website.
go right on there and check all that stuff out for yourselves.
Yeah.
Be great. Thanks.
So so thanks for sitting down with us.
Absolutely.
This is a
We
lot of
head
fun.
back to America tomorrow, so I'm glad we
Oh,
were
yeah,
able to
I know.
fit this in.
Yes.
I know.
You'll be back soon.
We'll be back.
You'll be back
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, we'll be back
We'll be
soon.
back in the summer.
Yeah.
We'll do a huge barbecue.
Yeah.
We'll take care of business.
All right, guys. Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Till next time, guys.
Till next time.
Pack my bags and close the door. Airplanes waiting, can't ignore.
Hey, you gorgeous kids. Funny you messaged us tonight because we were eating right outside your house tonight, But we miss you guys too, and I'm glad your ears were ringing because we were just talking about you.
Yeah.
But everybody's good, and we made it through dinner before it started raining, and we cleaned up with the efficiency of the RV, so that went well. And now there's a beautiful breeze, and we're hanging out outside, and that's it. We miss you, and thank you for the thought, and we'll see you soon.
Ciao, guys.
Ciao.
Ciao. See you soon. I hope. Ciao.
Summer romance in every heartbeat. Venice canals were gone.